2020. Good morning, our presenter and participant. Welcome to the virtual Vinschool International Convention 2021. On behalf of the organizing committee, we would like to thank you so much for your participation and contribution to our annual convention success. We are Lê Thị Thí Hà and Trần Thị Diệu Hiền as the presentation moderator. We are delighted to see all of you in live the virtual present today, especially in this parallel live oral presentation. We do hope that all of you will be able to have some valuable knowledge and experience as takeaway following the talk. Before the presentation, there are a few considerations. In case you have any question or concern about presentation, please feel free to leave them in the task box at the parallel section so you can gather the question for easy response in the 5 to 10 minute QA section. We gladly welcome Ms. Mary Joy Sienes, Ms. Thu Ho Tran in this parallel live oral presentation. We give the title Emergency Remote Teaching, Exploring Opportunity and Challenge of ESL Students and Teachers. About our presenter, Mary Joy Sienes is an ESL teacher at Vinschool Secondary School, Time City, Hanoi, Vietnam. She has more than 12 years experience as an English teacher and as a university lecturer in Philippines, Bahrain, and Vietnam. She is a PhD in English with concentration in TESOL candidate at similar university, Dumaguete City, Philippines. Her interests include qualitative research, especially in line of pragmatic and discourse analysis. Ho Tran is an ESL teacher at Vinschool, Time City, and has more than 3 years experience in the related field. She is taking Master of Art in English teaching methodology at University of Languages and International Studies. She is interested in pursuing research about methodology, curriculum design, testing assessment. Well, please welcome Ms. Mary Joy Sienes and Ms. Ho Tran.
Thank you very much. Xin chào and good morning to everyone. Thank you for being here. So when the COVID-19 pandemic hit the world in March 2020, the schools adopted various methods just to deliver learning. As classroom teachers, we have adapted, adjusted, and survived to the new classroom environment. I would say in the beginning, it was hard, it was perplexing and frustrating. And it made me question myself if I was still doing my job effectively. And with that thought, it inspired me to do this action research. It started with asking some friends, like we have platforms, social media, and I asked some of them. And so I devised a plan, like why would I not have a Google form just to collect the data from my friends from different places around the world. So together with Thu, my co-researcher, we would like to present to you the product of our reflective practice. We hope that you can learn something from this, that you can apply this in your own classrooms. Now, we know for a fact that the most important element in the classroom is the students. Thus, it is imperative for us to listen to their thoughts and feelings. Before we proceed to the presentation of our data, we would like to ask for your thoughts regarding, hold on, Thu, I cannot move forward. I cannot go to the next slide. Can you share your screen instead?
Okay, just
hold on. There. Hold on. Is there? It's loading. All right. So we have here a question that you can join. You can express your feelings. And our question is, how would you feel about online learning if you were a student? If you could please share with us your thoughts. It could be in a word. You can go to slido.com and then you have there the code 578928, or you can scan the QR code there. Now, while we wait for your responses, Thu, can you please ask some of our guests here?
Okay, so Ms. White, Can you hear me? So how do you feel about online learning if you were a student? Please share your thoughts. Mr. Thu Ho, are you here? Okay. Okay, so maybe there's some internet disconnection. How about Mr. Vũ Thành Công? Can you share your thought about this question? How do you feel about online learning if you were a student? How would you feel about online learning if you were a student? Mr. is not here. Okay, so Ms. Joy, how about you?
How would you feel if you were a student and you're learning online?
Yeah, can I answer the question?
Oh, yeah, of course. Go ahead. Thank you very much.
Okay. If I were a student, I would feel a little bit, I could feel boring. Yeah, and but sometimes feel very relaxed because I don't have to show up to my teachers and I show up to my friends. Okay, just I have with the audios on, and we don't need to show anything. Okay, so sometimes very relaxed, and then but I cannot grab the main idea of my teachers. I cannot face her, I cannot see her. Okay, so the cooperation and the thing that means the mood that we share, I think it's not very tight, and it's not very cooperative along the way. Yeah, that's my opinion.
Thank you very much, Miss Yang. So I was listening to you and I could see positive sides and the negative sides. Now let's take a look. Let's try to listen to what our students have to say about online learning in our next slide.
I was actually interested in studying online, but like after a while and like after actually getting to like start new school year, I found myself in a lot of difficult situation because of studying online. After a while,
we don't hear other students, so it will not be noisy.
And start new school year. I found myself.
Sorry, I think there's a problem with the audio. It's overlapping. Let me try again.
I was actually interested in studying online, but like after a while and like after actually getting to like start new school year, I found myself in a lot of difficult situation because of studying online.
Voice said we don't hear other students, so it will not be noisy. And however, my point is learning online is very busy because there are many assignments, and because we stay at home, so the teachers think that we don't have many assignments. They just give us homeworks a lot.
You have to do lots of stuff. You have to turn on your camera. You don't feel comfortable sitting on a chair, and you have to do your work on LMS. A lot of stuff, and you gotta learn. You gotta learn how to use your PC. Maybe some people find it difficult to learn using your PC, and I find it quite hard to focus on the lesson while doing online classes. That's my opinion.
Study while the COVID-19 is really terrible. And we can study, so we don't need to study more in the summer when we don't study. We study right now, and it's exciting when like we have some game in the class. So I think it's really interesting.
Really interesting because it supports the future features that we are going to do, and this is useful, and this is very very easy to I mean to do activities because like we don't like lunch at school, so we can eat at home. And if we want to sleep, sleep, we don't have to experience the noisy classmates, boys and or girls or like that. You just peacefully sleeping at home.
So you've heard the thoughts and feelings of the students. Because of these various feelings and opinions, so we entitled our research Emergency Remote Teaching, or ERT, exploring the opportunities and challenges of ESL students and teachers.
Peacefully sleeping at home.
So the background of our study, when the World Bank and UNESCO have pointed out negative impacts of COVID-19 to people's lives, especially to the aspect of education. In fact, COVID-19 pandemic has brought sudden changes in the academic world. The on-campus teaching and learning have become online, on-screen, and at home. And so the term emergency remote teaching, or ERT, has emerged. So the ERT is defined by Hodges-Moore, Locke, Truss, and Bond in 2020 as a temporary shift of instructional delivery to an alternate delivery mode due to crisis circumstances. In this research, students, the parents, and the teachers call this term, they coined the term online learning, work from home, and offline learning. However, we have to understand that because it's due to health crisis, ERT, unlike distant education, ERT is not well structured and not well organized. Because of this, there are a lot of challenges in the teaching and learning process. Now, just like any other research, our research has limitations. First, it's just an action research that we gathered based on our experiences in the classroom. We have 71 participants, 71 students, and 32 secondary teachers all over Hanoi. And because of this, our study cannot represent the world larger environment or context. Another limitation of our study, although our context is on the ESL, however, we don't pay attention to specific skill like listening, reading, speaking, and writing. So we recommend further study about the language learning or language skill development in the future. And then another limitation is when it comes to health impact and well-being of the teachers, we don't totally dig deeper on that. So further research is also advocated. So for the objectives of the study, I'd like to give the floor to Ang Tu.
Okay, thank Mary. Our studies have three objectives. The first and the second objective are to evaluate the challenges encountered by the teachers and the student in a virtual learning environment, from which we figured out opportunity and good practices in online learning and teaching process. Okay, to fulfill this objective, we come up with 4 research questions. The first question is about general perception towards online learning and teaching. The second one is about assessment of teaching and learning. The third one is about the challenges encountered by the teacher and the students. And last but not least, the fourth one is about strategy and platform that are effective in online teaching and learning.
So for the theoretical background of our study, it's based on the assumption that ESL learners tend to engage in any learning activities if the tasks and activities are interesting and fun. And so we anchor our theory, this study in 2 theories, one from second language acquisition and the other one is on distant education. So from the second language acquisition, we have the affective filter hypothesis by Krashen, published in 1985. According to McCall, in 2016, Krashen's affective filter associate with stress. He explained that if teachers can create a classroom environment in which students feel comfortable and relaxed, then the environment could provide the learner plenty of comprehensible input. In an online learning environment, students complain about boredom and eye strain. They feel unmotivated and tired from sitting in front of the computer for hours without human interaction. Another theory is of Moore's, which was published in 1972 and is derived from Dewey's concept of transaction. Transaction, by the way, is described as the interplay among the environment, the individuals, and the pattern of behaviors in a situation. Now, in a distant education where there is a separate physical separation between the teachers and the students, it is important to understand that special teaching adjustment and the learning behavior of the students more emphasize that it is the physical separation that leads to a psychological and communication gap, a space of potential misunderstanding between the inputs of the instructor and those of the learner. And this is now the so-called transactional distance. Thus, in distant education, we coined this as ERT in the context of this research. It is required that there is a use of special techniques and special conceptualization in the teaching learning process. We can't hear you. Your mic is muted.
Another framework that is used in our data analysis is teacher self-evaluation by Britton Odor in 1995. In this research, the teachers were provided with open-ended questions in the survey to allow them to reflect and evaluate their emergency remote teaching experience. These experiences were coded and categorized according to the domains of self-appraisal developed by Britton and Odor in 1995. And Britton and Odor identified 5 domains which serves as the criteria in doing a self-appraisal. To be specific, these 5 domains are language content, skill practice, correction and feedback, lesson structure, and class management. And the final framework that we use to perform our analysis is the learning process, written by Richards in 2001. The researcher emphasized that learning is not the mirror image of the teaching. So he enumerates several factors that may affect how successfully a course is received by the learners. These factors include understanding the course, views of learning, learning styles, motivation, and support.
For the methodology of this paper, we employed the thematic content analysis, which was patterned after the Illo and Kinga's model published in 2008. The researchers aim to explore challenges and new learning opportunities experienced by teachers and students, and the qualitative approach would be suitable to gather these experiences. For the collection of data, we use the open-ended survey, both on the part of the students and the teachers. To triangulate our data, we also conducted interview. For the coding, we use in vivo 10. For the transcription of the interview, we used Microsoft 365 voice transcription function.
Okay, so about the response, then we have 71 students who participated in the end of year reflection activities through Padlet. And when it comes to the teacher, we invited 33 secondary ESL teachers in Vietnam who have been teaching since the school year 2019 to 2020 until to date.
So we now bring you to our results and findings to answer our 4 questions. The questions are answered based in 2 categories. So the teacher's responses, Angtu will discuss those findings with you, and I will discuss the students' responses, starting with the general perception towards online learning.
Okay, so overall teachers first that they have more negative expression than positive ones when it comes to online teaching with 83 occurrences. I don't know whether you have the same feeling or not, but student inattentiveness is one of the factors that lead to such impression. And some of the teachers mentioned that students are distracted by other activities like playing games or chatting. And however, look at the price side, right? Some teachers felt their teaching online experience is fun and happy and convenience as well.
On the part of the students, despite the infancy of the ERT in the academe, most students find online learning good and interesting. In fact, some of them said, I think online learning is good. I think online learning is better. And however, the other side, there is this downside. If you can, there are 61 occurrences of the advantages, but there are 55 also disadvantages. And the topmost one, the top disadvantage is on the sharing and interaction. The students underscored that online learning does not allow sharing and interaction, may it be students or teacher or students. And it is evident when they said it's difficult to learn online because I can't ask my teacher normally, or online learning makes me feel sad because I can't see my friends and teachers. So moving on now to answer the second question.
Okay, so in regard to the teacher assessment, one of the significantly successful aspects of teaching online, properly smooth lesson structure in a variety of activities through clear staging and interaction. Some stated that online teaching grants me a chance to create interesting online games that I rarely had a chance to do in offline classes.
So on the student side, the students believe that lesson concentration and focus is the major success when it comes to online learning. They said, I can listen attentively to lectures, I can concentrate for more hours. And another significant result is the improvement of study skills. And I have to emphasize here, when we talk about skill improvement, they mean to say the note-taking skill, because they just have to screenshot, and the researching while the teacher is doing the lecture, they can also type it in their search engine. So I think that's the reason why they believe that their study skills, especially in researching, has improved. Moving on to the third question on the challenges encountered by teachers and students.
Speaking of the difficulties, the student behavior seemed to be one of the most problematic aspects that the teacher are facing, with 22 occurrences. To be specific, they mentioned that I am not sure, I have no idea what the students are doing in the class, so I cannot control. It's really hard for me to control it. And
for the student side, the good thing here, the students are, aside from giving the challenges, they are also giving solutions in this when we conducted the survey. So we coded 5 themes. Students find technical problems is the greatest challenge in online learning. These include internet connection, dysfunctional camera and microphone. A student narrated, sometimes it's really lag, the connection is so slow. And then they said that they cannot hear the teacher when when the teacher is giving instructions or lectures. So what they do, they usually listen to the recordings. And then although concentration problem is listed here, it must be noted that earlier I presented to you that lesson concentration is the highest success. The students said that is their highest success. So in other words, here in the challenges encountered, it only represents a very low number. So moving on to our last question, which is now translated as the opportunities in online teaching and learning, starting with the teacher's perspective.
Okay, regarding the recommended strategies, using interactive platforms is likely to one of the most favorable strategy that the teacher normally applied in their classrooms. Interestingly, teacher also suggested that establishing rapport between teacher and students is also a great way to improve the online learning, so by creating relaxing moment in the class. And we also classify our platform into 3 categories. The teacher prefer to use sport to deliver the content. They also love quizzes and Padlet for formative assessment. And they also like Kahoot, Wordwall, Quizlet, Bamboozle to motivate students in the class.
All right, from the perspective of the students, they prefer quizzes. They found quizzes as fun and beneficial. In fact, the students suggested that teachers can make learning more fun if they provide more games, thereby improving online class interaction. And so now we're down with the summary and conclusions. So while teachers believe that online learning disadvantages outweigh the advantages, the students felt the opposite. In terms of ERT outcomes, the teachers find the lesson structure in an online class as successful due to variety of activities, clear instructions, and organized staging. Meanwhile, students find lesson concentration and improvement of study skills as most successful aspect in their online learning. Teachers considered students' behavior, learning distractions, and class interaction as topmost challenges in an online class, while students find technical problems as the most challenging factors. Teachers recommended various interactive platforms in delivering lesson, while students they recommend even to the schools to provide more games and improve online class interaction. And with that, before we give our recommendations, we would like to ask for your thoughts. If based on our findings, if you could please provide us your recommendations.
Okay. So Mrs. Thomas, can you share your thought with us? Like what recommendation do you have based on the finding of this study? Ms. Thomas? Okay, so Miss Nguyễn Hoàng Võ, right? Can you share your thought with us? Because okay, Mary, I think that we can.
You cannot connect to Hoàng Võ. Okay, it doesn't matter.
All right, thank you. Anyway, so we will now present to you our recommendations, starting with the students have their recommendations. So we were able to categorize them into three: what the teachers can do in the classroom, what the students themselves can do, and what the school can do. The students believe that, I mentioned that earlier, for the students themselves, they believe that they have the capability to suppress their own boredom and endure learning. And they also believe that they can try harder to improve their weak skills. On the aspect of school management, they believe that schools can revisit examination procedure and school can reduce class periods per day, because they believe that sitting in front of the computer for longer hours would affect or impact their health. So for the recommendations, we have 4 recommendations. Angtu, can you please?
Okay, the first one is it is imperative that schools and teachers strengthen the communication among parents to encourage students to have a sense of responsibility towards their own learning. And the second one, we'd like to recommend that the teacher, the majority of teachers, they want to have the pre-training before the online teaching. So they also want the school to have some training for them, such as for example, about learning how to deal with misbehaving students, capitalizing on internet resources and an online platform to deliver the lesson. And the third one, because we have to sit in front of the computer for all day, right? So it somehow jeopardize our health. So therefore, the school should lessen the teacher workload to enhance their well-being.
And finally, we would like to recommend that teachers can also do reflective practice to evaluate professional knowledge and improve the quality of teaching and learning. And also, if they could also share their best practices and methodologies in the classroom with other teachers, so we learn from each other. So for further readings, we would like to recommend here, Getting Started with Reflective Practice. You can find that in Cambridge Assessment National
Thank
website.
you very much, Mary Joan. Sorry to interrupt, but I think that we can find further reading here.
Yep.
Yeah, great presentation. Yeah, very good job.
Yeah, we would like to share our big thanks for your great presentation. And now we are happy to receive questions that you may have from our presenter. There's one question: how effective is remote teaching in Vinschool secondary school?
We cannot speak on behalf of Vinschool, but I can speak on behalf of as a classroom teacher. I would say that in the beginning, when COVID hit Vietnam in 2020, it was really hard. But as we progress to the third academic year, I found out that teachers and students have already well adjusted. Like, we already know a lot of tricks. We know already to use different platforms. We have explored a lot of platforms, and so students, and on the side of the students, I noticed that they know already what to do. So they know their expectations. So like, I couldn't hear a student saying now that, teacher, I'm so tired, or I'm bored. Like, I think, like, because of the maturity, it has been like, this is the third academic year that we're doing this. So there is really progress.
Due to the limited time, so I think that many questions you can email directly to the author. On behalf of VIC 2021, we wish you all the best with the productive day and meaningful rest of our virtual convention. Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And
Thank you very
goodbye,
much.
Mary Joy and Thu.
Thank you.
Could you please turn your camera on and we can take a photo together? Click icon heart, please. Diệu Hiền, can you help me to take a photo? Who can you stop sharing? Okay, but better now. Yeah, please take photo here and I will take photo. Okay, perfect. Thank you very much for a great presentation of Mary and Anh Thư. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Very much.
Bye.